Hi guys, this is Az from Integrum Health and Wellness. Today we're going to be discussing primal movements. So if you haven't heard about this term before, primal movements are effectively the way in which the human body is designed to move and operate biomechanically. So whether it be you in the gym, out on a run, doing gymnastics, in your day-to-day life, primal movements are essentially the way in which the human body likes to move, and we can adjust our workouts and adjust our lifestyles to try and fit in with this naturally programmed way of moving. So today I'm going to go through the 7 main primal movements. I'm going to give you an example of an exercise that focuses on that movement. We'll talk about where on the body this affects, how it affects us physiology, and all the rest of it. So let's get started. The first is the bend or the hinge. So this is talking in relation to our hips and our pelvis and our ability to bend over and stand upright from the hips, okay? The exercise that I've noted on this one is the deadlift. So deadlift is where we take a barbell and we pick it up off of the floor and then we place it back down onto the floor. Without going too much into the technique of that today, the focus of a deadlift is to keep your back neutral and upright and to let your legs and hips and that hinging do the work to bring you up. On a more day-to-day basis, this is the idea of picking up your child off of the floor, picking up carrier bags, anything where we lift something up off the ground will often involve some form of hip hinging. If we're talking in sports, the hip hinge and that ability to move and thrust your hips forwards is what's going to generate power, speed, and agility. Okay? From there we go on to the squat. So squat is moving further down the chain, still involving the hips, but now we're keeping the upper body completely upright and we're working with the mechanics of the legs in order to put ourselves down and to lift ourselves up. Squatting is probably the most neglected primal movement in terms of how essential it is to our biomechanics. In ancient times, prehistoric man, before we built chairs, would sit in a squat position. This would be the resting position. It would also be the way that we went to the toilet. So before we had the toilet to sit on, if you wanted to go, you would squat down to the ground, and that's how our body is naturally designed to expel waste. The squat obviously can be done with a barbell, front squat, dumbbells. There are hundreds of variations of how you can perform this exercise, but the basic mechanics of it is the ability to sit down whilst keeping your body straight and upright. The lunge, number 3, is a forward stepping or backward stepping movement. So we are taking one of our legs either forward or backwards and then bending down into the ground. This is going to come up again when we get down later to the gait, but the essentials of the lunge is effectively allowing us to create some leverage by placing ourselves off of our center line. So being able to create a position or a stance in order to lift things, pull them back in order to push things forwards. Our ability to lunge also works with our ability to plant ourselves into the ground. Again, similar to the squat, you can do walking lunges with a barbell, you can take dumbbells, you can do fireman carries, you can work them with body weight exercises as well. These are great exercises if you have issues with your knees and ankles and other joints, because it takes you out of that set standing plane of motion. It puts you off of balance. It takes you off kilter so that you can work the smaller stabilizing muscles in and around the joints. Moving down, we've then got the ability to rotate. So this can be our neck rotating, this can be our torso. All our joints, or most of our joints, have the ability to rotate. Shoulders, legs within the hips, moving around at the torso, rotating at the neck, in the wrists. Very neglected in standard workouts. We tend to think forward and backwards. We very rarely seem to think about the twisting motions. Now, if you are working in a sport such as tennis, baseball, anything that involves this rotation, then this is going to be essential to your workouts. If we're talking more about our day-to-day lives, if you neglect this, then you leave out a whole array of muscles in your body. When we think of the abdominals, for example, we might think of the abs at the front of the body. But we also must take into consideration that the core actually wraps all the way around us and all needs to be worked in order to give us a stable and controlled form. Moving down from there is our ability to push. So whether it be a press up, whether it be the bench press, our ability to push things away from our center, involving the chest muscles, the triceps, the front of the shoulders. This actual movement is very prevalent in our lives. A lot of people, if they go to the gym, would prefer to do a bench press over many things. Our chest muscles are very visible, so we enjoy working them out. We enjoy developing them because they help us with our overall physique. Day-to-day lives of sitting in a car, sitting at a desk typing, all involve this forward position of the shoulders, this rounding. And it's the reason why the next primal movement becomes so essentially important. And that is our ability to pull. So our ability to retract our shoulders, to use our back muscles, our rear delts, our biceps in order to pull things backwards towards us. So this could be a bent over barbell row. This could be done with something like cables, some sort of rowing motion. It can also be in the same way of the push, it can be a downward or upward. So if we think of a shoulder press pushing upwards or a lat pull down pulling downwards, the plane of motion in which you push or pull can alter as well. The final one is the gait. Or gait is the ability to walk, to jog, to run, to sprint. So putting this is a full body mechanic that we should be very capable of doing. It's essential in our development, in our evolution as hunters, our ability to run and catch food or run away from predators. So the whole body mechanic of being able to run or express yourself in movement forwards and backwards is then the ability to gait. I've drawn an arrow from this in terms of, let's talk about either sprints or doing cardio, to the hearts, because not only about the physical benefits of the ability to move our body together, but the cardiovascular benefits of exposure to cardio, running, jogging, swimming, cycling, etc. So these are the 7 primal movements. If you do anything in life, you can start trying to think about which one of these primal movements are you using and when should you be using one over another. We have a tendency to spend a lot of time hip hinging and not a lot of time squatting. So the objective to pick something up off the ground, a lot of us are bending over at the waist, we're not using any of the legs, and then we're overdoing it on the lower back. The back and the hips are taking too much of the load when we should be incorporating more of our squatting ability. We spend a lot of time pronated, we spend a lot of time in the push range of motion. We need to spend some more time pulling ourselves back, retracting our shoulders, working on our posterior chain down the back. We could incorporate more twisting into our workouts. I don't think I mentioned an exercise for twisting. The one I've got down here is the wood chopper. So that would be taking a cable and pulling it outwards and across the body so that we start involving the sciatus and these muscles that wrap around the side of the front abdominal wall. However you choose to use primal movements, just be aware that they are in your day-to-day life as it is. Try and get a bit more informed about them. I hope this video has helped you a little bit. Tell me how you include primal movements in your workouts down in the comments below. If you like this video, please like the video. Please subscribe to our channel for more coming soon. This is Az from Integrum Health and Wellness, wishing you well.